Prohibition, baby! Let's party! Welcome to Matt Reviews Books. I am Matt, and I have an unmarked bottle. This is a book review channel dedicated to older books. Books that were in their prime. I can't speak, but it has nothing to do with this bottle. There's just water in there. These books that I like to talk about are older books. Books that in their prime once were bestsellers, but aren't really anymore. They're not really even heard of anymore. And if that sounds like a good time to you, then go ahead, subscribe down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think I should read. I'm always looking for a good book. This week, we're talking about Last Call, The Rise and Fall of Prohibition by Daniel Okrent. It is a nonfiction book, and it is a very good read. I recommend it bigly. Basically, starting in 1920, nationwide, the United States prohibited the manufacture, sale, transportation, or consumption of alcohol, meaning wine, beer, spirits. What is known as the Volstead Act started Prohibition off, even though there are parts of the country where it took place a decade earlier, towns were going dry, and even though after Prohibition, there continued to still be areas of the United States, localities that were dry. Texas, I'm looking at you. Well, here, hold on a second, let me have a drink. Not quite as good as the real thing, but it sure wets the whistle. Basically, this is the story of prohibition of alcohol in the United States from 1920 to 1933. The fight, however, to outlaw alcohol started many years before Prohibition took effect. It was an outgrowth in many ways of the temperance movement. Of course it was. It's a temperance movement. But also, believe it or not, women's suffrage. Alcoholism and the overuse of alcohol was a threat to the domestic sphere. So women became heavily involved in the temperance movement. And Daniel Okrent does a much better job of explaining that interplay than I just did. Very sad. That builds up basically for a better part of a century before 1920. And then what happens, though, ironically, is that Prohibition doesn't actually end activities. It actually gives rise to a great industry related to alcohol. So then you have rise to organized crime. Gangsters. Wait. Where's my bottle? Let's move on to thoughts. And this is really easy to read. It's a great read. It's engaging. Daniel Okrent does a really good job of connecting the dots logically, clearly, in a way that is fun to read. That's it for me. Look this up. Last Call, The Rise and Fall of Prohibition. If you have any interest in Prohibition and gangsters and that whole rigmarole, that whole circus of that time, this is a great book. And with that, I'm going to have a drink. I'll see you next time. This really is water. You think I'm going to drink booze trying to record a video? You're out of your gourd.